and CEO.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, check. That's check. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from ESPN Asheville.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy, Hour 3, here in the Ingles Studio on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Is it still just chaos outside?
It's not pretty.
It's not pretty. The weather's not pretty outside, and the desk isn't shaking anymore from the thunder, so I'm guessing that the worst of the storms, at least have passed outside Radio Ranch here in West Asheville. If you're out traveling about, just be safe on the roadways. Don't forget to put your headlights on. It's always an important key when you're driving in rain is to have your headlights on. Third hour of the program brings up, of course, the daily draft, and today's daily draft is a hell of a question. Most interesting teams for the 2023 offseason in the NFL. Jeremy and I'll be obviously trading off picks here as we do in every daily draft here on ESPN Asheville. Of course, you can hear the Sportsocracy everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and see us everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel, and you can join us in the chat. You can also join the House of Reprehensibles on the YouTube stream as well. Man, there are so many interesting storylines coming up for the 2023 offseason. I'm trying to whittle down in my head who is the most interesting story.
I gave you the number one pick, and it was almost solely because for me there's a clear one and there's a clear two.
There's a clear one and a clear two?
Oh, no doubt. One is won by 4 light years. 2 is pretty clearly over everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a no doubt number one to me.
Interesting. Well, my number one pick, I'm gonna do it. I know you're gonna hate it, but I'm gonna take the New York Jets.
Yep, that was one of the 2 times I was talking about, but it was not number one.
The New York Jets, to me, I mean, now you've got a lot on the table. Obviously, if we talked about already, you've got an owner who's says he's willing to pay up for a veteran quarterback. You're trying to change the offense there. What are you going to do as far as the injuries and building this offensive line back up? I think you got a lot of things on your mind. So New York Jets, to me, are number one.
They were not my one.
Who's your one?
They were my 2. Number 1 is unequivocally the Chicago Bears. Absolutely, no doubt, unequivocally. What could possibly make you intriguing going into an offseason? Maybe a quarterback that you got a lot of varying opinions on. Maybe having a really high draft pick. Oh, they got number 1. Maybe having the most money in the NFL, which they have all 3 of those.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a team in a situation like the Chicago Bears. To me, they control the offseason. Derek Carr will be the first domino to fall because he has to be.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago basically controls everything else. If you ride with Justin Fields, you're trading a franchise quarterback somewhere in the NFL for a bounty of draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say a bounty, I mean you could be looking at what the Cleveland Browns gave up for Deshaun Watson. It could be in that airspace.
Okay. for the number one pick.
All
right.
Or you trade Justin Fields, who becomes super interesting somewhere else, and you draft Bryce Young.
Interesting, yes. But to me, there has to be a level of on the interesting scale. There has to be a side where I think you're going to be a contender at some point, and I just don't see it with Chicago. There's nothing about that. And now, had we not gone through the bloodletting of the last few years, where you saw all the defensive pieces be jettisoned out, then maybe I would have you higher on the interesting scale.
So who are you worried about? You say the jettisoning. Who are you worried about? Khalil Mack?
Yeah.
He's in his 30s. I don't really care. Roquan Smith's an off-ball linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
That's like having a Maserati in front of a single wide.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't care about that. I'm looking at a team that has double the cap space of every other team in the NFL, and you have the number one pick, and you have a, we'll say, polarizing quarterback, because that's probably the best word. I don't know that I've ever seen a player where the opinions on him were so drastically different.
Lamar Jackson.
Not like Justin Fields. As soon as Lamar got on the field, it was very easy to go, okay, I mean, yeah, he's a runner, but he's also very dynamic with his arm with Marquise Hollywood Brown.
Yeah. I was going to say,
I mean, Lamar Jackson
3 years later.
Lamar Jackson is the highest side you could possibly see Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are people like me that think he needs to be completely propped up by what's around him, by the offensive coordinator, by the scheme, by the offensive line.
All those things you said about Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's.
But he was in an organization that could do that. I never really thought about those things.
Sure.
I looked at Baltimore and went, you're going to figure this out. Because I saw him in a playoff game, which they lost. But I saw enough out of rookie Lamar Jackson to go, okay, I missed here. Justin Fields, I see a rudimentary offense that's two reads and run. People talk about the weapons. They talk about all these other things. This is not as easy as you're making it sound.
But none of that's changing, right? Regardless of what happens in this offseason, it doesn't appear any of that's going to change. They're not making any changes as far as the coaching is concerned or the scheme or anything like that.
No, but I don't really care about that. I don't care. You're doing that now because that's what Justin Fields needs. Bryce Young does not need that. Bryce Young is I could count on one hand the number of quarterback prospects I've ever liked that much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's universal across the industry. Nobody has anybody else at one.
Look, maybe the Bears can make some change. I mean, they're bringing in Kevin Warren to be their new president.
And think about that. That's another big story of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Warren, who was the head of the Big Ten, which just signed insane media deals, he walked away from that to take over the Chicago Bears. It's from the business side. I get that. He has a background in the NFL. I get that too. You walked away from a pretty cushy job to take over the Bears. I feel like they had to sell you on something.
Maybe. And
it could be the stadium. It could be a lot of things.
I think it's, it's the journey. Am I going to get more out of being the commissioner of the Big Ten, who now I've helped build this, yes. I mean, he was key in the negotiations.
He brought in USC, UCLA, and signed the media deals with NBC.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had done the hardest part, and you walked away from that to take over the Bears.
Yeah, but it's still going to the show. I mean, it's like minor league and major league baseball.
He walked away from the exact same job to take this job in a place he was comfortable, in a place he had been in. So just think about the dichotomy of that. I walked away from this exact same job in a city that I lived in a city that my family knew, to take the Big Ten job. 4 years later, I'm going to walk away and go to a lesser franchise that has been historically pretty bad over the last 25 years. What does that tell you? It means either the money is drastically better, it's not, or you got sold on something.
What are you going to get more credit for?
Oh, I mean, as the president of the Bears,
if you turn this franchise around and become a champion again.
And Ryan Poles will get that credit.
Yeah.
Matt Eberflus will get that credit. Luke Getsy will get that credit.
I don't think they're going to last that long.
Name me the president of virtually any team in the NFL.
I mean, I can't.
That's the point.
I can't.
That's the point. As soon as I saw the Kevin Warren thing, and I thought that would kind of float away. It didn't, and it stayed loud.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I watched it, I went, man, they must be selling some kind of dream out of Chicago. I don't know what it is, but that team is set up to completely overhaul that roster.
Sure. There again, though, in our top 2 choices of most interesting teams in the offseason, to me, it comes down to confidence. And I have way more confidence in Joe Douglas to be able to make the right decisions to move his team forward than I do with Ryan Poles. You haven't made a decision yet that I've felt good about. Biggest decision that Ryan Poles has had to make so far.
Trading for Chase Claypool.
And you boo-boo kiddied that.
Mm-hmm.
You gave up the number 33 pick in this NFL draft for a receiver who wasn't worth it.
And in fairness, Joe Douglas, the guy that you just said you had infinite faith in, his first draft pick was Mekhi Becton, who's played exactly 7 snaps in 2 years. Yeah. So not like every one of these is an A+ grade. I could do that with any GM in the league.
No, but that was also a decision that made sense at the time.
Also didn't.
Chase Claypool didn't make sense.
The topic here is also not who is going to have the best offseason. It's who has the most interesting.
I get it.
And Chicago is infinitely more interesting than anybody else.
All right, number 2.
This one is almost for me, since you took my number 2 with the Jets. This one is almost for me. Just, I don't know exactly where you're supposed to go. It's the Indianapolis Colts. You have been on the most unbelievably vicious cycle of mediocre backup quarterbacks. Well, now you're in a position to get the long-term solution. You may have to trade up to do it, because you have 2 teams in front of you that are both very liable to trade out. Chicago and Arizona are both very mobile, and there's only 3 quarterbacks you can take this high. So you may have to make some maneuvering. It may cost you some draft capital, or you may be able to sit at 4 and just have somebody fall in your lap. But then what do you put around that guy? Because that team, as it's currently constituted, I don't care if it's C.J. Stroud. I don't care if it's Bryce Young. I don't care if it's Will Levis. You're not putting that guy in a position to succeed. Mm-hmm. It is hard to look at a rookie quarterback and go, look at our beautiful, wonderful Michael Pittman. What else do you have? Look at our beautiful, wonderful Michael Pittman. Anything behind? Nope. Don't look back there. It's a lot of Alec Pierce back there, who's fine, but.
All right, Indianapolis Colts, Jeremy's second selection for most interesting team in the offseason. Now, tell you what. You know I'm going to do it eventually, so here it comes.
Oh, boy.
It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's one of the most interesting teams as far as if this is over. If this is over, what are you going to do next? You have a decision to make. You have to make the decision. Is Todd Bowles the head coach of the future? The immediate future. This ain't a long-term decision. This is, what are you going to do?
See, to me, Tampa Bay's not all that interesting because I know exactly what you're going to do.
Really?
Well, you're $50 million over the cap.
Mm-hmm.
You've kicked this can about as far down the road as it's going to go. So when Tom walks away, and you're going to gut this roster. You don't have another choice. Unless you want to be New Orleans. Because you're in your own division getting a really good shot at how badly this can go when you kick this can down the road over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
It gets very Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton-y. Well, the rest of the roster's great. 7-10 called. They're expecting you.
You got to make a move. Somebody, I don't recall who it was, but I think it was asked like 3 or 4 times during the Derek Carr talk and Derek Carr go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Good. He could.
I don't know how you're going to. I don't know how you're going to make the money work.
I don't either. But you've been doing it for 4 years. You've been making the money work for 4 years to keep all these guys in town.
You can't do that forever.
I know you can't do that forever, but it's clear that Jason Light has on his staff some of the biggest cap wizards in the game. Because every year we talk about how far behind the 8 ball they are, and every year they figure out a way to make it work. Now, taking the Tom Brady piece away from that absolutely makes things a little different. You can get a lot of guys to come in on cheap deals just because Tom Brady gives you a shot to win. What do you do without him? That's why I started making the argument around the trade deadline of maybe this is the time. Maybe Jason Light looks at this and goes, the rest of this season ain't going to be very good. Let's go ahead and start getting what we can out of this roster. And maybe that just put it off until, for a couple of months until the offseason when Tom Brady finally makes his decision. I don't think he's coming back. Tom Brady's not coming back to Tampa Bay, and I don't think he's going to play again in the NFL.
I would be more stunned if Derek Carr wound up back with the Raiders than I would be if Tom Brady came back. I think I said that incorrectly. Tom Brady ain't coming back to Tampa Bay.
Right.
I can tell you that much definitively. I do think he's going to play.
You think he does play? You think he finds the spot? And whether it be Las Vegas or San Francisco or Miami.
There's too much posturing. You wouldn't be doing this behind closed doors talking to people that it doesn't benefit you in any way. I just struggle. Now, I mean, the divorce has happened now. The reason he was going to walk away was for the family. Well, that's not there anymore. He still got the kids, but the Vegas thing makes too much sense. To them, the thinking makes too much sense. It doesn't make a whole lot of on the field sense, but
yeah. No, to me, it's going to be the offseason for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is going to determine whether or not they can try to still be at the top of this division, because your Super Bowl window has done. That's closed. Yeah. That's gone. Now you need to decide: do we scrub it and start all over again? Do we become the new millennium's sucking ears and embrace the Bucco Bruce logo again and just be awful and then rebuild from there? Or do we try to keep kicking the can down the road, restructuring contracts, find a way, bring in Derek Carr? We still have these weapons. We need to get the most out of them, and the only way you're going to do that is with a quarterback. It's going to be interesting to see. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. We'll continue the daily draft. Most interesting off seasons coming up in the NFL.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue, 240 west and eastbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Traffic is busy. 26 westbound slow between Airport Road to the French Broad River. 26 eastbound is slow between Long Shoals Road and Airport Road. 40 westbound Haywood County crawling between NC 215 and exit 27. 40 westbound then slow between NC 209 and US 276. 40 on the eastbound side is slow between Fines Creek Road and US 276. Hendersonville Road southbound slow between I-40 and Overlook Road. And Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
I never write reviews, but Navage is so amazing I had to leave one. Nothing's ever cleared out my sinuses as well. I'm blown away by how Navage works. That's a review from Carrie, and it's one of over 100,000 online testimonials praising Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I've talked about flushing out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs. How Navage's powered suction can help you breathe better, and how your nose is the body's air filter, and Navage will clean it out. But don't take my word for it. What do people like Chad say, who wrote, Navage has helped clear out my nasal passages every single night. My wife says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. We'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. We're in the midst of the daily draft as we do every top of the third hour of the program. Today it's most interesting offseason. We're draft guys. We Jeremy, much more of a draft guy than I am, at least when it comes to the NFL draft. And is there a mock draft coming out this week? I can never keep track on how many mock drafts you're going to do in a season.
43.
Yeah, at least 43.
Yeah, I'm a mock draft guy. What can I say? And I'll be honest with you, every time I put one out, we get just peppered with, when's the next one?
People like them. So you gotta keep giving the people what they want.
And that's what I'm here for.
Exactly. So daily draft today. Most interesting off seasons coming up in the NFL. I went full homer for both of our teams with my two picks. I got the New York Jets and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jeremy went Chicago Bears, who have the number one pick, have a decision to make with Justin Fields. You can see how that goes. Then the Indianapolis Colts, which is fine. I mean, you got a high draft pick. You can make it. You can make the call. You can make the trade to get up and get that franchise quarterback one way or the other. What are you going to do with your head coaching position? All of that, I get it. My third pick of this draft.
Hold on, before you get into that, we have one of these. From Gage Camplin. Does Fields have the same potential as Jalen Hurts? He could in the right system, with the right team, with the right support. He needs a lot of that. It's the reason that I've been banging the drum that if I was the Miami Dolphins, I'd be making the call. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think you can take this roster and go into next year with just Tua Tagovailoa with the injury concerns. He stays in Chicago, I have very little faith. They have a lot of assets. They have a lot of capital. They have a lot of money. And I'm not sure that I care.
Yeah, see, I think the more likely scenario is the Chicago Bears stand pat and take Will Anderson number one, and we all look back and laugh and go, same old Bears.
They will not stand pat. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Bryce Young will be the number one pick in this draft. It's just a question of to who. That's it. There are no other questions.
Somebody's coming with the package.
Well, I mean, worst case scenario, you tap out and trade down to Houston. You leverage them out and go, all right, we'll take that extra 2 2s for you to get up here for Bryce Young. Yeah, Chicago will, no matter who makes that pick, it's Bryce Young. You see any other mock draft that says anything else, they are just flat out patently wrong.
Okay. My next most interesting team for the offseason is going to be the Detroit Lions. Because I'm just curious. Of, are you going to make the step, or are you going to do the same old Lions thing of give us a little hope and then fall back? I don't think you need to make a change at quarterback. Jared Goff is fine in this system. He's done well this year. You have the young weapons. You'll have Jamison Williams fully healthy next year. Can you keep the band together? You've got pieces on the defensive side. I've said for the entire season, if I'm looking at the draft going into this next year, it's all defense. At least not all I mean, I'm not talking about going full Carolina Panthers every damn pick as a defensive player. But at the high side, I think that's what I'm doing. I've got the 6th overall pick from that deal with the LA Rams. And to me, and then they have the 18th pick as well. So 2 first-round draft picks for them. To me, there's not many more teams that are more interesting than the Detroit Lions trying to walk through the door of the NFC North. You got the possibility here again, Aaron Rodgers may be leaving Green Bay. What's Minnesota? We know the offense is great, but that's not an infallible team. They're probably one of the teams that you least trust going into the playoffs. If they don't get the stroke of luck that they had this past season with winning 11 one-score games, which is unheard of in football, then they fall back to the mean. And here you're looking at we make the right moves, we could have a 10-win team next year, could win this division.
Detroit's interesting to me solely because what are you going to do after Ben Johnson? He's taking a head coaching job.
Maybe.
That's not that wasn't a question. He's taking a job. He's the hottest candidate on the market.
So he will take the Houston job.
I don't know which job it will be.
I'm saying it comes down to it, and that's his only avenue. He gets interviewed for several jobs, but the Houston job is the one that he's got his foot in the door. He's going to take that job?
I don't think it comes down to that, but I think if it did, he would.
Okay. All right, I just have to know because that's part of the interesting point for me in that with them in the offseason is, okay, Dan Campbell, we all like the rah-rah, go get him, guy looks like he's snorting cocaine on the sidelines kind of thing. Like he's just that amped up all the time. Can he do it without great coaches behind him? He's got Ben Johnson as the OC. He's got Aaron Glenn as the DC, and Aaron will probably get head coaching interviews.
He talked to the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see Aaron Glenn leaving this year, but I do see Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody I've talked to has said that's the hottest candidate. That's who everybody wants, whether they're willing to admit it or not.
So it's just, what are you going to do? Is it all smoke and mirrors right now? Or is Dan Campbell the guy that can lead you to the promised land with the Detroit Lions?
My next selection was between 2, and you didn't take either one of them, so I'm pretty happy as we sit here.
Mm-hmm.
The Las Vegas Raiders. I know you're moving off Derek Carr. What are you doing around that? And what in the world is your plan at quarterback? I mean, I see mocks all over the place that have Will Levis falling in their lap. That's not going to happen. I hate to break it to, and the thing that scares me is this is the same coach that brought us, a coach that came from the same organization that brought us the Tim Tebow experiment. And he once famously said, I could turn a high school player into a Pro Bowler. I really hope you don't believe that, because Anthony Richardson is the exact kind of player you would fall for. I can get the best out of him. The physical tools are insane. And if it's not that, then what is it? Is it Brady? Is it Garoppolo? Just a lot of unanswered questions there. And they're sitting in a place that is quite intriguing. The other one is a playoff team that has a very high pick and a lot of ability to continue making the greatest trade heist in the history of the NFL look even better. The Seattle Seahawks. I mean, I think it's Geno Smith. I'm really interested to see what that number looks like. I'm interested to see what you can put around him. And is this a team that's going to continue to do what Seattle has done, which is built through the draft, and use all of this capital? At some point, I feel like you need a couple veterans sprinkled in there because they don't have a ton of that. It's a young roster.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, they're quite intriguing.
Okay. My next pick is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. New GM, new head coach. Yes, you've got the Kyler Murray thing. That can't change. He's your quarterback. You're invested in him. You gave him the extension. Now he's hurt. He's going to miss most of the next season probably.
No, he'll miss a handful of weeks.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a possibility he's ready for the start of the season. I don't look for that, but it is possible.
Yeah, I don't foresee that happening. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not being fair in this scenario. But Kyler Murray's not the kind of guy that strikes me as a quick recovery guy. Don't know. I mean, maybe that's my own bias. But anyhow, you're going to have a stretch of the next season where you're not going to have Kyler Murray. So you need to figure out something there. Obviously, making the changes at GM and head coach are one thing. And then you have this high draft pick. What are you going to do with it? You leverage it and trade out, get more draft capital. Do you trade down with Indianapolis or Carolina or whoever? Somebody might want to get up to that 3 spot. And if not, then what are you going to do with it? We know your defense needs help. You also have this rumor out there about DeAndre Hopkins, that DeAndre wants out or they are looking to sever ties, or I don't know what to make of that. And it could be just smoke at this point with no fire. It's just bloggers and whoever out there just trying to make some kind of a headline for the Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins is an interesting scenario for them as well. So Arizona, to me, very interesting going into the offseason. And then it's the Atlanta Falcons. I wanted to say a different team there, but I couldn't. It's the Atlanta Falcons. Because I just don't know where you sit right now. I know you have draft capital, and you're picking at the 8th spot. This is kind of where you've been for the last little bit. The last several years.
So another team that has a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
A ton of money. And what do you want to do with it? They're a team that I could easily see going off the board with, whether it's Anthony Richardson, Tanner McKee, somebody that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I hope I'm wrong because I like Arthur Smith.
They're also a franchise that has to be in the Lamar Jackson's discussion.
I would agree with that. If he were to somehow become available.
Right. Or if he gets franchise tagged, franchise and trade him to Atlanta.
So I had never done this before this week. It is now Thursday. It's our 4th show. This is the 2nd time I've done it in a week.
Okay.
I got all 5 of my top 5.
Good for you.
My final is the Los Angeles Rams. And I considered taking them 2 rounds ago. Because you mix in the instability with that roster, the lack of draft capital, and Sean McVay very obviously flirting with just going away. And if that happens, then who exactly wants this job?
Mm-hmm.
I keep hearing people talk about Sean Payton. Why on God's green earth would he want this job? They're killed against the cap. They have no draft capital. The line is horrendous in places. Why would he sign up for that? I mean, I hate to say this, but the Arizona Cardinals are a more intriguing job right now than the Rams are, and it's not really all that close to me.
Exactly. That's why I'd pick them before the LA Rams.
Because the only 2 paths you have here is to try to Band-Aid this together for another run or literally burn it to the ground. There's no in between.
Mm-hmm.
You're either going to try to start trading off Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp, and just take it back to the studs, or try to find Band-Aids to make this team competitive again. And to me, that is really interesting.
Mm-hmm. They're, quote-unquote, just a bit outside of my group because there's one decision that could be made here that I think you're irrelevant, and that's if Sean McVay says no. If he says no, I'm going to TV, the LA Rams are dead. I don't see you resurrecting.
But it's not interesting to you of what happens with all that high-end talent.
I mean,
I understand that you're going to be that it turns into
but you have no choice at that point. If Sean McVay says no, you have no choice. You have to sell out.
Oh no, you have a choice.
You have to have.
You
the
can
fire
take
sale.
Stan Kroenke's money and go to Sean Payton and go, you put down a number right there that makes you feel good.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's angling for. Maybe he wants the blank check. Maybe he wants to have way more power than he has right now with Les Snead in the building.
Money and personnel control are the two things that mean the most to Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know that I could sign on to that roster with as many questions as it has. But then again, there's no blank check that could have 9 digits on it coming my way. So it's pretty easy for me to say.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. When we come back from the break, we'll have the most important message of the day.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
We are tracking some thunderstorms in from the west, and the atmosphere wants to spin today. A lot of wind shear in the atmosphere, so watch out. Could see some powerful thunderstorms, wind energy coming across. It is blustery out there as a Pacific cold front crosses into western North Carolina into tonight. Heavy weather, stay weather aware. 34 degrees our low tonight, and then we finish up with some snows Friday morning, high 38. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound near Saluda, crawling between Ozone Drive and the US 25 connector. 26 westbound, again slow between Airport Road and Brevard Road. 26 on the eastbound side, delays between the French Broad River and Hendersonville Road. 40 westbound is slow between exit 44, US 1923, and George's Branch Road. 40 westbound, then stop and go between NC 215 and exit 27. 40 eastbound is slow between Vines Creek Road and US 276. An accident on Airport Road near Old Shoals Road causing some backups. Hendersonville Road southbound slow between Biltmore Forest and Overlook Road. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
And now for today's Roblox winter weather alert. iHeartland on Roblox has been walloped by a winter snowstorm. It is a winter wonderland. You can now ice skate at State Farm Park. In State Farm Neighborhood, you can compete in snowball fights, grab a hot cocoa and cookies, and more. There's also special events from your favorite artists and podcasters all month, along with scavenger hunts, exclusive content, and unique items. So enjoy the festive winter weather at iHeartland on Roblox. Head to iHeartRadio.com/iHeartland today.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA choice and prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy, and that music can only mean one thing. It's time for the most important message of the day. Jeremy Greene?
Don't do crimes!
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to do that thing that you did yesterday. This is not really a crime, but it felt like crimes were happening at the time.
What Georgia did to TCU was certainly a crime. I don't know what the crime was, but it was a crime.
That was assault and battery, at least.
It was mean.
No, this story comes to us from a guy who was online playing video games. You've probably heard a story like this before. A guy who was online playing video games, and then all of a sudden, the cops show up to his door. Have you ever heard the term swatting?
No.
Really?
Other than
You've never heard of this?
Other than what I used to like to do to people that tried to shoot threes on me. I was swatting into the crowd.
Yeah, no, swatting was a thing like, I don't remember stories of this more recently, but I feel like a couple of years ago we were having stories over and over of this. Like guys would get online and they'd play these games, whether it be like Call of Duty or whatever, and they'd have the cops come burst in their door. And basically what it was rival players on the video game had gotten their information, had given the cops their address, and told them there was some kind of a crime happening and sent them while they were playing the video game.
Oh, that's a full
over to their house.
That's a full 50 on the FAFO scale.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure this guy, he's only referred to in the story as Elijah, thought that maybe he had been swatted. But no, this is a different scenario. When the cops showed up to his door, it's because while he was playing Rainbow Six Siege, he butt dialed 911. And the operator on the other end heard him say, "I just killed 2 people." Obviously, he was talking to the other guy on the...
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's telling the guy that he's playing video games with, "I just killed 2 people." And I guess the conversation on his side continued to make police believe that there's a crime that has been committed. And when they showed up to his door, they were fully armed with their AR-15s pointed in his direction. And there's a Ring doorbell video that shows like cops sitting outside his house with the cruisers and everything, and they're full on like
tactical.
I mean, yeah, just ARs pointed, like come out with your hands up, kind of, gangster style movie scenario. And then he had to explain, no, wait, I didn't really kill 2 people.
There's an error in communication here.
Yeah. One of his friends went online and told the story and said that it was obviously the most scary incident in Elijah's life. But for the next 4 hours, police went through and raided his house and searched for any clues that they could find to a double homicide, blah, 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 blah. It said while he was being detained briefly by the police and they were searching his house that one of the cops asked him, "So who's your favorite operator?" I guess of the video game? Or is this your favorite operator of the 911 system? I don't know. Like, weird little conversation to have with a cop while you're sitting there with, not necessarily an AR pointed at your face at the time, but very interesting. Just I don't know what advice to give in this scenario, because I don't really know how you butt dial 911.
Take it. Well, I accidentally did it, turning my alarm off the other day, so I don't think I'm legally allowed to say anything here. You ever taken a train?
Yeah.
It's without a doubt, unequivocally, the most overrated form of travel ever. And I'm about to tell you a story that'll make you never want to do it. Ever, 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 ever.
Okay.
Over the weekend, a train left the D.C. area. It had 563 passengers on it and 300 vehicles. It was departing from Virginia. They were technically in Virginia, but it was just outside the D.C. area. That was 5 p.m. Monday night.
Okay.
So this was actually early this week, not over the weekend. They were expecting to arrive in Orlando, Florida at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. That's a 17-hour trip. Well, then a slew of things happened that precluded that from happening. Somewhere in their path, a train derailed, which is obviously a problem because a derailed train and a railed train cannot go down the same track at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to stop the train. They stopped it in a town in South Carolina called Denmark. Very heavily wooded area. Down by, it's like an hour outside of Savannah, Georgia. Hour and a half out of Savannah. Well, apparently there's a regulation that says train crews can only work for so long at a time. Well, as they were sitting here waiting on the train derailment to be fixed, the crew went over the amount of time that they were allowed to work. Well, I don't know how much you know about train schedules, but Denmark, South Carolina is not exactly a hub for Amtrak employees. They waited on this train for 29 hours.
Yikes.
For a crew to show up. They got the derailment fixed. They didn't have anybody to operate the train. They physically could not make the train go, to the point that the passengers started calling 911 because they thought they were being held hostage. Because they couldn't get off the train. Because nobody could open the doors because that's operating the train.
Right.
So you had animals on this thing that they couldn't let outside to go to the bathroom. This trip took over 2 full days.
Yikes.
And that is enough for me to go, well, I wasn't very liable to take a train anyway. Now there's absolutely zero chance.
Yeah, no. That's always one of those things that sounded good in theory. Not good, but interesting in theory to take a cross-country train trip or whatever. You couldn't pay me enough.
Nope. For me, there's 2 kinds of travel. There's car and plane. That's it.
Yeah.
End of message. Repeat the line. Because that 17-hour train trip from Virginia to Orlando takes roughly an hour on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
A little more than an hour, but not much. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
But here you get to see all the sites. You get to stop in the different spots.
Don't care. Look out your window. Yeah, you can see it from way up high in the sky.
My mom and dad did that once. They took a train trip from, I guess it was Greenville or Charlotte or wherever. They took the train from there all the way up to Boston because my dad refuses to fly. So he won't get on a plane. So the way that they decided they were going to do this
Why will
trip,
he not get on a plane?
Because he's afraid it'll crash. Because all of his heroes, quote unquote, have died in plane crashes.
All right, so Leonard Skinner is obviously on that list.
100%.
And then
Richie Valens and the Big Bopper.
That was in the 50s.
Buddy Holly, yeah, the day the music died. That was the first one. That was the first one that got him. John Denver, who was flying his own plane.
And I'll be honest with you, I won't fly in a 4-seater Cessna.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do the little puddle jumper from Greenville or Charlotte to Asheville. That's the smallest plane I'm getting on.
Yeah.
And a helicopter? No.
That was the other one. Stevie Ray Vaughan died in a helicopter crash. He just refuses to fly. I keep telling him, like, Dad, you're not famous enough to die in a plane crash. Would you get over this?
It
please?
Is the safest way to transport yourself across America.
But he will not get on a plane for anything. So the only trips he's ever taken, were by car and boat. The only two trips that he will ever take. And by train, obviously.
I'm not doing boat either.
Oh, you've been on a cruise.
I have been on a cruise, yes.
Well, that's traveling by boat.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to get anywhere. I'm just going to float out into the ocean, see all the islands, all the domestic lights, and then come right back. I'm not going to try to sail across the ocean blue. That's not happening.
Oh, no. I mean, it's a loop trip, obviously.
Yeah,
you're coming back to your destination.
And I have now twice wound up on a yacht of somebody I didn't know.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
I have an interesting life.
You do.
I have an interesting life.
You do.
There are times that I look at myself and go, now, if we retraced our steps, how exactly did we get here? It's just the way some people's lives go. And I'm one of those people.
I always thought I was a person that was never going to be able to win the battle against my weight problem. But then PhD weight loss came to me with what I felt like was a foolproof plan. They said, hey, we've got this little plan that we give you all the steps to follow, and if you do this, then you can have a life-changing experience. I went, okay, I'll give it a shot. Gave it a shot, and in a year, I lost more than 90 pounds. I never thought I was going to be anywhere close to being referred to as a healthy adult. But now I have that opportunity thanks to PhD Weight Loss. If you've been struggling with a weight problem all your life, PhD is the way to go.
I have not struggled with a weight problem all my life. I've struggled with a bit of a lazy problem. And that led to some sleep apnea, some knee issues, because I'd gotten a little chunky. In just over a year on this program, I'm back down to my high school weight, and it's because the plan keeps me away from all of those bad food decisions, and it's all thanks to PhD Weight Loss.
I hardly recognize myself anymore. When pictures pop up on my social media of, hey, this happened 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it's hard for me to look at that person in those photos and go, wow, I did have a major problem. I always knew I had one. I didn't realize how bad it was. If you're in that position, go to myphdweightloss.com today. They can help you change your future. PhD Weight Loss, the official weight loss program of the Clemson Tigers and their fans.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is crawling 26 westbound between Ozone Drive and the US 25 connector near Saluda due to an accident. 26 westbound, again slowing between Long Shoals Road and the French Broad River. 26 on the eastbound side is slow east of Chimney Rock Road. 40 westbound is stop and go between the Smoky Park Highway, exit 44 and George's Branch Road. 40 westbound, then stop and go in Haywood County between NC 215 and exit 27. An accident on Airport Road near Old Shoals Road causing some delays. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Hendersonville Road, north and southbound, approaching the Blue Ridge Parkway, slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
I'm Sarah Kustok, NBA analyst for the Brooklyn Nets, and I have a new podcast called NBA Pulse with Sarah Kustok. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'll be joined by one of the top NBA writers to discuss their latest stories, features, and up-to-the-minute news.
Rainbow! That, my friends, is Luka Magic!
Check out NBA Pulse with Sarah Kustok on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Right now, you can get free carpet installation from the Home Depot. So while we're putting in your new carpet, you'll have more time to take care of the lawn. Get started on dinner. Or just lay down and relax on your new carpet after it's installed. Get your free carpet installation started with the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Minimum purchase of $4.99. Exclusions apply. U.S. only. See store for details.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. It's ESPN Asheville, and we know you're listening. We know you're listening. Great to know that the audience continues to grow each and every day here in the Sportsocracy, and take your listening to another level. You don't just have to listen to us on the terrestrial signal on 92.9 FM or 880 AM or 1400. You can get us everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. You can join the House of Reprehensibles, get in on the chat each and every day on the YouTube stream. We're talking about people that are afraid to fly. Sloan Jordan in our YouTube comments says that his great uncle was a Marshall alum. So, yeah, he never got on a plane for 50 years until he passed away. Said, according to him, planes were a taboo topic on the campus for years. Of course they would be. Go through a tragedy like that. There are lots of examples of people that won't fly. John Madden. Patrick Holt brought that one up. Yeah. The Madden bus was a thing for years because he just couldn't get on a plane.
And I guess it's that I've been on so many. I've never even thought about it.
Oh,
It's never even gone through my mind.
Oh, I have. I've been on the plane that we took from Atlanta to the Dominican Republic a few years ago. There was one moment on that plane where I went, okay, I may never get on a plane again. Because you hit turbulence over nothing. There's nothing in sight. You're out in the middle of the ocean. You go, uh-oh.
It's never even crossed my mind.
Really?
And I've been on flights that I thought the oxygen mask was coming down.
Yeah.
I've hit turbulence so bad that it's like, is the engine still actually working?
Yeah.
Because this seems very rocky right now.
You take that one little dip in midair over nothing, and you go, okay, I've soiled myself.
And for me, I don't even think about it. Even when you circle the airport, I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah, I can't. We got the playoffs kicking off this weekend, and
that means tomorrow,
massive Football Friday on the way.
Football Friday! Don't have too many more of this.
We will have all of the picks for you against the spread. We'll play Beat the Chief with Asheville Police Chief David Zach. Jeremy won the regular season contest, but
rating! Defending!
And now it's a different ball game. Now it's a postseason contest. And we'll have more details for you on how you can get in on the postseason DFS contest, which will also be, of course, for charity here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
We are tracking some thunderstorms in from the west, and the atmosphere wants to spin today. A lot of wind shear in the atmosphere, so watch out. Could see some powerful thunderstorms, wind energy coming across. It is blustery out there as a Pacific cold front crosses into western North Carolina into tonight. Heavy weather, stay weather aware. 34 degrees our low tonight, and then we finish up with some snows Friday morning, high 38. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is